At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Happy Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday morning to you all. A quick programming note, I will not be on tomorrow morning or Friday morning as I'm going on a little vacation with the family. And Brian will be filling in for me, not on Coffee with Krueger, but he'll be updating the weather forecast for you both Thursday and Friday. Now, a little bit later, we're going to be going over a contest for you to win a free coffee mug that you see right here. We're going to be talking about basically how you're going to have to try to figure out where I am. And I'm going to be kind of posting clues throughout the next couple of days, not today, but starting tomorrow. I'm going to be posting clues, and then you can take your guess. And then, of course, for those that guess correctly, I'll put you then in a pot to do a drawing. And you can win a coffee mug. I might even throw a t-shirt in there as well. So good morning to you all. So glad you could join us this morning. Let's take a look and see if there's anybody checking in this morning here. Let's do a refresh. All that good stuff. While I get a sip of my coffee here. So glad you could join us this morning. So there's still a lot to talk about. Number one, the temperatures did drop yesterday. We broke the stretch in Reading of 110 plus. All right. So that actually tied the record of six times of 110 plus 6 days in a row. Okay. We broke that stretch yesterday with a high of guess what? 109. We were just shy of keeping that record going by 1 degree. And I always say this, if we're going to get this hot, might as well break a record, right? I mean, that's kind of my thought here. We got some people checking in this morning here. We have got this morning, looks like, I got to get a new system for this, but looks like we got Tracy Sackett, of course, one of the first ones to chime in this morning. We've also got, looks like a new face here, Rebecca Lynn saying good morning. It looks like she's got a nice smile on her face there. So good morning to you. Hope you're having a good start to your day. And you know, let's get to the forecast. For those of you that want to head out the door, get ready for your Wednesday. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. We're getting ready for the day. So let's get you to the forecast this morning. And you can see right now it is still pretty mild in the valley. But look at the temperature in Reading, 79. Look at the temperature in Chico, 77. A little bit cooler, though. A place like Willows and 70, as well as Oroville. 64 in Susanville, 65 right now in Alturas, and those mid-50s out along the coast. Visibility right now, yeah, looking pretty low. Let's take a look at what it looks like right now at Elk Country, just north of Trinidad. You can still see that we have plenty of cloud cover there. Okay, check this out. We've also got those foggy conditions right now in Crescent City. This is out at Crescent City Harbor District. Just kind of heading into the south part of town there. There you can see, I mean, visibility is really low. And you can clearly see what I'm talking about. We're going to go ahead and get out of this, and I'll show you. Yeah, I mean, you're talking 0 mile visibility up and down the coast. So you've got just got to maybe allow yourself a little bit of extra time if you live on the coast. And, you know, some of that fog is making its way into some of those inland valleys. So places like Blue Lake, for example, not quite as far south as Garville is what I'm guessing at this point in time. But you know, you head out to Ferndale, for example, you've got some fog out there. Trinidad, you got the fog. Out towards Klamath, you've got the fog there as well. But elsewhere, of course, the visibility is looking pretty good. All right, so let's take you out the door this morning on this Wednesday, July 10th. And you can see temperatures, you know, you saw the temperatures right now. That's essentially what we're looking at 8 o'clock this morning. Foggy conditions along the coast. We should see that burn off. We'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies today there. Smoky, hazy skies here for Siskiyou and Modoc County. That could even translate to parts of Trinity County as well, especially North Trinity County as well. But this morning, mainly in the upper 60s and some low 70s for some of those mountain locations this morning. All right, let's take a look at the latest coming in from the Shelley fire. Now, this is the satellite image detecting hotspots. Now, what this is detecting is that, of course, you can see the fire perimeter there, right? You can see the hotspots on the outside of that fire perimeter. So what that tells us is that we are beginning to see some growth. not only on the north side of the fire, but unfortunately, where we don't want to see that growth is the east side of the fire. Why? Because that is the side that's facing Scott Valley. So it's threatening communities like Greenview, Cheeseville, Deacon Lee Place, and Etna, for example. These are areas that we've got to be concerned about. So let's take a look at that latest fire perimeter and the latest data coming in. Now, if you watched my recording that I uploaded before 6 o'clock, this is what I was talking about. As I record that, new data can come in shortly after that, unfortunately. So it's a matter of timing. So here on Coffee with Krueger, this is the latest data coming in. The Shelley fire is now, and I was reporting, I think it was just over 6,000 acres when I was the recording this morning. Now you can see it's up to 8,285. So we've seen it grow, 1 to 2,000 acres here in the last 12 to 24 hours. That, my friends, is not a good sign. And again, a lot of that growth that we've seen has been on the north and the east side of the fire. So let's kind of get an aerial perspective of what it looks like. So there's the town of Etna, and you can see a ridge south of where it says Deacon Lee Place right there. There's a little ridge there, so it's got to go up that mountain, then another ridge. So Etna still looks to be, quote unquote, protected a little bit by that mountain ridge there. We take you up north now, and there you can kind of see the perspective from Greenview. There you can see the drainage there kind of coming on both sides. This, again, look on the left side of your screen there in the mountains. That has been growing closer and coming down that other side of the ridge. But if you look closely, now we'll point that out here a little bit later, but we take you up a little bit more to the north, and a little bit farther away from the fire is Fort Jones, a little less threatened than the communities of Greenview and Cheeseville and Mugginsville, for example, and Etna. So let's bring it in a little bit closer, get you some more perspective. There's Mugginsville, there's Mill Creek Road, kind of within that little valley where it meets the mountains there. And boy, once it gets to the mountains, you're very close to the fire at this point. We take you out a little bit to the south here. You've got Kidder Creek. Now, again, that drainage. We're going to go right into that drainage and show you that road will go through there, Kidder Creek Road, and of course it goes well within the fire. So again, there's another aerial shot here of looking at that fire perimeter, and again, it's that north end of the fire that we are most concerned about at this point. So looking at some of the distances from these communities, look at Greenview, look at Etna, about 4.5 miles. It's the closest part of that fire perimeter to those communities. These numbers are getting smaller. Just yesterday, they were over 5 miles, right? And Fort Jones was over 10 miles. Now we're down to 9.4 miles. So it has moved about, unfortunately, I hate to say it, probably somewhere within that range of about a mile closer than the last time I've reported on this. So again, I hate to see numbers like this. Taking a look at the Bogus fire, this is kind of a close-up view because it is a much smaller fire, 411 acres at 20% containment. There you can see, we'll zoom it out here. You see some of the local communities that are going to be impacted in the form of smoke. But Doris, it's about 24 miles away. Wairika, 14, and about 10 miles from Montague. So, of course, these are areas that we're going to be watching here very closely. But the good news is it sounds like the fire, for the most part, the Bogus fire, is looking like a lot better shape than, of course, that of, say, the Shelley fire. Let's take a look at some of the latest images. Now, this is coming in from the satellite. It's detecting a heat signature. And you can see overnight it was active. And that's why we're seeing some of that most recent activity we saw there on the map there earlier. Now, unfortunately, that's the reason why it's grown overnight. It was burning pretty hot overnight. Now, the good news is you can see here the most recent spot. Now, I'm going to go ahead, you can see here, as we go into the current hour, you can barely, if at all, see an orange glow, showing that the fire itself has kind of died down in activity after seeing a fairly active evening and at least the first half of the night. So you can see the fires in the area. You got the Mina fire to the south. You got Shelley fire that we were just looking at You got the bogus fire and the north fire. So let's zoom into all of these. We'll start with the Mina fire. And there are still evacuation warnings for that area. This right now is 53 acres at 35% containment. Let's zoom it out. Kind of get out of there. We'll go zoom it out. And we're going to take you up north to, of course, the Shelley fire. So what we're looking at here is 8,285 acres at 0% containment. I'm going to zoom in here on the evacuations. Now, the evacuation order looks like for Greenview has been pulled. I'm not exactly sure why, but especially the fact that that fire is growing and it's getting closer, but maybe they're getting a better handle on things. I'm not sure. But based on this map, you've got evacuation warnings basically just west of Highway 3. And some of the communities that aren't necessarily in those warnings are Etna and Fort Jones, for example. But again, I always say this. I mean, when you're that close to that perimeter, I would say it's probably still a good idea to make sure that you've got your bags and everything ready to go in case that should happen. Let's take a look at the Genesis map. And let's zoom it out here, and let's see if we can get a better, let's see if this is updating. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on here. So based on the Genesis map, let's see what it's saying here. It's just a road closure there, but we still have the evacuation order based on the Genesis map, the Genesis Protect. So yeah, it looks like we still have the evacuation order for Greenview. If you've heard anything else, let me know, but that's what I'm seeing. We're getting some conflicting data coming in from Watch Duty. And let's see if there's anything that Watch Duty reports or says here. Continue to arrive on the scene. Note that has now been split into 3 zones. But it doesn't say anything about anything being lifted. So there might be something wrong with their data coming in. That's why it's always good to double check with the Genesis Protect. Now, you're probably wondering, well, where do you get that? Where do you find out which zone you're in? How do you find out where Genesis Protect is? Well, let's take you to weathernorcal.com. And then you can see here's the very top of the page. We're going to scroll down to where it says fire danger. Just click on that. Now what I want you to do is I want you to scroll down and you'll see it says Zone Haven. That's what it used to be called. I need to probably update that, but this is the Genesis Protect. So what you do is you just kind of click on that part of the fire, and you don't even have to go outside of weathernorcal.com. It'll just interactively work within the website. So there you can see that's the zones, and you can zoom out, you can see where you are, you can type in your address, all that good stuff, and it'll tell you the zone you're in. But that's what I would recommend, is that if you have second thoughts, this is always going to be the best place to go, and that's the Genesis Protect page. So again, we were looking at that. We're looking at Watch Duty. Let's take a look now at the bogus fire. That again is at 411 acres, 20% containment. Actually, the fire is now 35% per cal fire. That was 42 minutes ago, so they have to update their website there. But 35% containment there at, looks like still at 411 acres. You can still see where the evacuation orders are and the evacuation warnings are there. And again, once again, you're going to want to go to the Genesis Protect page. The North Fire is now at 60% containment at 4,389 acres. Once again, it looks like all of the evacuation orders and warnings have been taken out. So they've all been lifted. So that is good. The fire, yeah, contained at 45, and that's of course 60%. So that is kind of the latest look at the fires, kind of the detailed forecast. If you have any questions, let me know. We've got Catherine Schmidt here saying that, let's get you back over here. Catherine Schmidt is saying the Pit 1 fire was too close yesterday. Thank you to the local fire and CAL FIRE. They are lifesavers. Absolutely. You could not be more correct, Catherine Schmidt. All right, let's let's continue on with the forecast. Of course, we were looking at the bogus fire there just a second ago. Taking a look at the smoke forecast. You can see as we go into the noon hour, it's mainly in Siskiyou County. As you get in those dark grays and the light grays, that's mainly just maybe some light haze that you're probably not even seeing. It's not until you start getting in those darker grays and the yellows that you start seeing a little bit more of that haze, and you're not going to really smell that smoke until you start getting more in those reds and deep yellows, right? So you can see, looks like a plume of smoke trying to come down later on this evening and tonight, just north of Redding. But overall, most of that smoke should stay to the south. The wind's not a problem right now, but as we're continuing to see this trend, those winds do pick up as we do go into the afternoon hours. By noon, not that bad. But again, by the afternoon, you can see, especially in the eastern mountains, they begin to pick up. About 10 to 15 miles per hour in the valley, a little bit stronger than that for some of the mountain locations. Now, the relative humidity is going to drop again. The good news is I am seeing slightly higher relative humidity levels for places like Trinity County, western Siskiyou County. That should help in the firefighting efforts, but still very dry with that high fire danger. Now, I want to show you the fire weather risk here for today. You can see it is within the high to even close to the very high range here for the valley and some of those mountain locations, but once again, western Siskiyou County. Oh, hello, hi. Oh my goodness. Now we're doing the maps. So there's, of course, the fire risk. I forgot to switch it over. That's funny. All right, here's your satellite image. You do have the ridge of high pressure that's in place, keeping us under the mainly sunny skies. We still have excessive heat warnings through Friday. Most of those heat advisories are also through Friday. Some of them will be expiring today, but most likely they'll probably be extended, honestly. There's the record. I've been showing this the last several days. 6 days. That is the highest number of times. We have highest number of consecutive days that we've seen 110 degrees plus. That was in 78 and 1988. We saw it again here in 2024. It started on July 3rd and lasted through July 8th, where we saw 110 degrees or higher for 6 straight days. But that stretch was broken yesterday with a high, could you believe it? A high of 109 degrees. Yeah, we were just shy of that 110 degree mark by just 1 degree. Now, what's interesting about that is this. We've got another stretch of 110 plus for today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So, with that said, had we made it to 110 degrees yesterday, that would have been day 7. Today would have been day 8, 9, 10, maybe upwards of 10, 11 days of straight of 110 plus. We would have shattered the 6-day record, but we didn't. Just broke it by 1 day. But look at that, much more relief in the forecast. The normal high now, in Redding at least, is 100 degrees. That's normal for this time of the year, okay? So when we're at 101 to 103, you're just slightly above normal. So nothing unusual. It's just going to be your regular heat that we're used to around here by the time we get to Sunday and into next week. But still 110 degrees plus for most of us in the valley. Temperature is most likely in the upper 90s to about 100 degrees for most of the higher elevations, and in the low 60s along the coast. And then there's the coast, right? Those low 60s. So your 7-day outlook, again, you can see that relief by Sunday, especially Monday, Tuesday. Look at that, even Red Bluff, Chico could drop down below 100. Got some haze in there, some smoke in some spots here. Temperatures mid-60s for the coast. Inland, you're down to the mid to upper 90s. And then Weaverville, upper 90s by Monday, Tuesday. And from Mount Shasta, you've got the hazy skies out there as well. By the way, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit more detail in the next, the deeper dive forecast. And we're going to be talking about a chance for showers and thunderstorms. Yeah, lightning may be a bit of a concern as we go into this weekend. All right, there's a look at Main Street, Chico. It looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. In fact, not a lot of traffic at all. A lot more traffic on Highway 99 at Neal Road. There you can see the shadows of the car indicating plenty of sunshine out there. Here's Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive. And this is the picture today. And I wanted to show this. This is actually a cool picture sent to us by Curtis Brown. This right here is the proper way to measure temperature. All right, I get it. Not all of us can do this. Curtis was saying this is actually supplied by, I believe it was the National Weather Service that gave him the box, but this is the way it is done, folks. When we talk about, oh, I remember this and I remember that, right? Here's the deal. This is the official way that you're looking at right here. This is the official way to record the temperature. Why? Okay, take a look at the white box so that does not attract heat. Okay. Number two, you see how it's ventilated, so air is able to flow through the box. The thermometer, as a result, once you close that door, it's not in direct sunlight. So again, it's getting the proper air temperature, not what the sun is radiating on it. And it's about 4 feet off the ground, give or take. That right there, that is the official way. Also, take a look at the surrounding area on the ground, right? You've got that mulch there. That is also a good surface. You want to either like a dirt or a mulch that you see there, or grass. Otherwise, if it's on concrete or pavement, like a blacktop, for example, that's going to radiate heat and it's going to make the air around that box hotter than it really is. Then, of course, they've got the anemometer that it detects the wind speed and direction, and you'll notice that kind of little cylinder off to the left side of the picture there. That is the rain gauge. So I want to thank Curtis for that. By the way, if you want to send in your pictures, you can do that from the free Weather NorCal app. Send us your how you're staying cool pictures. Show us your beautiful scenery pictures, flowers, the lake, how your pet is staying cool, pet pictures. Love all of those. I'd love to share a new one each day. And you could possibly see it right here on Coffee with Krueger or on the morning update and on social media. All right, let's check in with everybody and see how you all are doing this morning. Actually, before we get to that, before we get to that, I wanted to do this. I didn't update it. I'm surprised I remembered, quite honestly. Because I'm going to be gone tomorrow, typically we have NorCal Ag on Thursday. But because I'm going to be gone tomorrow, I'm going to run it one day early, and it'll be available for you to watch one day early as well. So the NorCal Ag Report is sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery, and Jerry O'Lennon is speaking to the Ag Commissioner, and they've had a lot in Butte County. If you live in Butte County, the surrounding areas of Butte County, you may have noticed a lot of crickets. And Jerry O'Lennon talked to the Ag Commissioner, and he's going to learn a bit more about why there are so many crickets and how they impact agriculture. Again, NorCal Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery.
Hi there, I'm Jerry O'Lennon with Weather NorCal, and this is the Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. Our topic today on the Ag Report is grasshoppers galore. They are all over the place in ranches and in various grows all throughout the county of Butte and even beyond that. And I'm with Ag Commissioner Louis Mendoza of Butte County. How bad is this problem of grasshoppers?
Jerry, this is probably one of the worst years we've seen for grasshoppers. We started getting calls in our Chico district office, and we went out and looked, and basically they're just prolificating and coming down from the rangeland foothill area down into the valley now.
Why do they like coming here?
Well, the dry vegetation, because of the hot weather, is forcing them to move down into the valley now and seek out people's gardens, people's shrubs, whatever they can eat.
Well, since it's 115 degrees as we tape this episode of the Ag Report, I'm guessing that the grasshoppers are continuing to come into the area.
Yeah, they're pretty heat tolerant, Jerry, so they're still coming down into the valley. They usually don't die until we get really cold weather.
Do grasshoppers affect crops?
They can, Jerry. They go in and defoliate. We haven't seen any significant impact on our agricultural commodities. Where we have seen impacts is in the rangeland, forage land, where they're eating up some of the grasses that are growing. But because of the dry weather, now they're moving down.
Is there any danger to humans of all these grasshoppers?
That I'm aware of, there's no public safety aspect of having grasshoppers interact with humans.
But these creepy crawlers are kind of creepy.
Yes, they are. They very are. They are. Yes, they are. I just talked to a gentleman today that he lives in that foothill rangeland area, and basically they ate up all his fruit on his nectarine tree, and the only thing was left was the pits. on the stems.
What should a homeowner or anyone do when they see all these grasshoppers? Just call you, or is that not going to do any good?
No, it's really out of our control. Grasshoppers, every 8 to 10 years, we get this cycle where they peak and then it settles out. But I think at this point, if they can do anything with mesh covering or anything like that to protect their gardens, that's about only you can do. But if they get hungry enough, they'll eat through that.
So when the weather cools, they'll go away?
When the weather cools and gets cold, they'll go away.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much, Louis Mendoza, the Ag Commissioner in Butte County. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
And there you have it, another installment of the Ag Report. I'm Jerry O'Lennon for Weather NorCal.
All right, I want to thank Jerry for sending in that report. He was able to get that to me yesterday, a little bit early, of course, because I'm going to be gone tomorrow. So we're doing the Ag Report 1 day early today. And, of course, we're not really experiencing in Shasta County, but there were a few years ago, I was out towards Phantom Falls. This is in Butte County. Gorgeous, gorgeous waterfall. And the parking lot, we were like one of the first there. The parking lot was literally just covered in grasshoppers. We were just getting bombarded with grasshoppers during the hike. We drove home and we kept finding grasshoppers in the garage because they got in the car, not in the car when we were driving, but they were on the car. So we transported them all the way from Butte County to Shasta County, and we kept finding them in our garage. So it's amazing. I got Rebecca Lynn kind of mentioning something about that. Rebecca saying those grasshoppers are horrible. It's estimated that 20 grasshoppers per square yard will eat as much as 1,000-pound beef animal. Eesh. Interesting fact, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing that. I certainly appreciate that. Yeah, so if you've ever experienced them, it's crazy. Again, they're not dangerous. They don't bite or anything like that, but it's just like they're flying in your face. They're flying all around us, and they were like just all over the ground. So even if they weren't flying at that point, you walk and then you disturb them, and then they fly around. And we've got Shelley Buell this morning chiming in this morning. She is saying, what is she saying? Good morning. Stay safe. Good to see Jerry on here. Stay cool. Well, I'm glad, Shelley, that you enjoy to see Jerry. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that he's got a fan here on Weather NorCal. I look forward to having him not only do ag reports, but as we progress and do other things, which I'm not really going to divulge that information just yet. But we are going to possibly see if we can expand outside of just doing kind of ag reports and things of that nature. We have got Lynn Jones, also fan of Jerry, saying, great to see Jerry. Yeah, I think back when he was let go at a particular TV station, it was really a bit of a bummer. They were just doing massive cuts and all that. I can tell you right now that in my time in the industry, I feel very fortunate to have survived all of the cuts. There were cuts left and right, and it just seemed like I was dodging bullets for the last decade of being in TV. So that part was partly one of the reasons why I got out. There are several other reasons why, but it's definitely interesting here. We've got Debbie Castro mentioning also about the grasshoppers. At my house, it is beetles of all kinds, just seeing the grasshoppers. All right. Interesting, Debbie. So certainly appreciate your comments there. We've got Cynthia McIntosh, also a fan of Jerry, saying, I am happy to see Jerry too. He's always been my favorites along with you, Mike. Well, good. I will have to pass all of this along to Jerry if he's not watching. Maybe he's watching and maybe he's going, yay. All right. So yeah, we appreciate that. I appreciate that when, you let me know that you appreciate what I'm doing, and, those that are helping me out too. My wife has been helping out, Jerry helping out as well. So yeah, they love to hear those words of encouragement. So yeah, thank you. We've got Chris saying Jerry is a wonderful addition. All right, good. I like to hear that. And we got Tracy mentioning something. Lots of grasshoppers in the MacArthur area as well. Big and little ones. Well, how fun is that? No, sorry. Sorry to hear that, Tracy. That's always not fun. The grasshoppers are not a fun thing. Well, tell you what. Let us get to the forecast and kind of see what's going on here, a deeper dive. We're going to take a look at the fires again, but keep in mind too, if you're just checking in and you want to get the latest on the fires, wait until this recording is done with. Wait till I'm done with this show, because then it's recording as we speak. I will then send it out to the website, and you'll be able to watch Coffee with Krueger from the website. You'll be able to get the latest on the fires, okay? I do the deepest dive on the fires at the very beginning, and then I just kind of a little less of a deep dive on the fires, but a deeper dive on the weather for the second half of the show. That's kind of what we do here. All right, so just wanted to give you an idea what we're doing with that. All right, let's get to the forecast, shall we? And it's made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River, I'm gonna have to slow it down there. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. Thanks again to Wind River for their support of Weather NorCal, and of course Coffee with Krueger. Let's get to those current temperatures outside. It's almost already 80 degrees in Redding, so yeah, it's going to be another hot day out there today, folks. You know, for all intents and purposes, it was just as hot. I mean, we didn't get up to 110 in Redding, but it was 109. I mean, that's close enough, right? 77 degrees for Red Bluff, 68 degrees for Oroville. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s for those higher elevations. 55 degrees in Eureka and 54 degrees right now in Crescent City. Let's take a look at those headlines. It's heating up once again. Yes, we saw a brief minor break yesterday. We're back up to 110 plus for most of us in the valley the next few days. It's going to be hot, dry. That's going to keep that fire danger elevated. And thunderstorms in the forecast for the mountains. Just when you thought it was the heat and the dry and the wind that we had to be concerned about, now we got the potential for nature to start these fires. And that would be, of course, lightning. So we're going to have to watch for that. We'll see what happens. But I can finally report something good, and that is highs are getting closer to normal for this time of the year by the end of the weekend and early next week. But one thing to keep in mind, normal in the valley is about 100 degrees, so it's give and take, right? There, of course, you can see those wind gusts. Not a problem right now. They're fairly calm, but they will be picking up here later this afternoon, 20 miles per hour or so. That's also the case for the higher elevations. This is a trend we've been seeing over the last week or so, and that is they die down in the morning, and then the winds pick back up. So it's breezier than I'd like it to be. Bottom line, 15 to 20 miles per hour is too high. If a fire starts, it doesn't help. It makes things worse. And that's the case even going into Friday afternoon. How about the humidity? Well, again, it's fairly low, right? But this is good to see. Notice for central western Siskiyou County and for Trinity County this afternoon, the humidity levels are actually beginning to increase a little bit. All right? Still very low, though, off to the east. Let's take you into tomorrow morning. We're seeing good recovery even for the valley, 30 to 40%, 50% for places like Trinity County, towards Siskiyou County, 30 to 40, even close to 50% for Modoc County and Lassen County. But by Thursday afternoon, there's those very dry conditions to the north and east, but once again, not as bad for places like Etna. So even though 26% is still low, but it's not 5% like Redding is. So that helps the firefighters because the vegetation, it impacts it immediately. It's how much moisture is in the atmosphere, right? That can really make a big difference. 6 a.m. on Friday, again, we see a little bit of recovery. It looks like as we go into Friday afternoon, it may get a little bit drier out there, especially for places like Etna and Weaverville. So a little bit more humid in some spots here. So we take a look at your fire weather risk for today. Normal, right? No big surprises. We're within that high to very high range. But we're seeing the high range here for many spots to the north and east. Once again, we're reaching that. This is kind of a normal everyday occurrence. You can see that's the same case for Thursday. You'll look as we go into Friday, it actually gets higher for your Friday. Looks like the winds may be a little bit stronger as a result, and that's the reason why. Now, take a look at this. We look at the fire potential map taking you out to Saturday. All this red is basically potential for dry lightning strikes. I hate to report it, but it's something we need to keep a close eye on. This is something I touched on the last few days, is the potential for some monsoon moisture coming in, and it could kind of touch the eastern portions of Northern California, giving us a chance for showers and thunderstorms. Now, I do think this is kind of over projecting it. I don't think Bernie, Mount Shasta, Wairika will see those thunderstorms. I think it's mainly going to be to the east of the line that I'm drawing with my finger right here. Okay, so Alturas, maybe Susanville getting part of that, and you'll see that in the 7-day outlook. Now again, I want to remind you, just as we're talking about lightning being nature caused, we've got human caused fires. And most likely the fires that we've seen here recently is because of human cause, is for human cause. Don't drive on dry grass. Make sure your chains, if you're towing a trailer, are not making sparks. They're not scraping the ground. Don't throw your cigarettes out of the car. You shouldn't do it anyways, whether it's dry or not. Even if it's raining, that's trash. That's littering. Use grills on gravel or paved surfaces. Mow your lawn early in the morning when it's not windy and when it's not hot. If it's still windy and hot in the morning, don't mow your lawn. Bottom line is, just don't mow it during the day. Never leave fires unattended, and always properly extinguish those fires. Okay, so we look at the fire tracker again, and I want to show you here the Shelley fire. You can kind of see the perimeter here. As you get in the red, it's harder to see, but where we've seen most of the activity is right here. That was mainly in the early parts of last night. We did see the fire kind of lose some of its energy as we got closer to sunrise. But look at all the other activity here around the fire here. The yellows are indicating a day or two old. But this is fairly recent. The last 6 to 12 hours is what we're looking at here with that areas of red. So yes, some recent activity. Here's the latest Shelley fire. And you can see the statistics here, 8,285 acres. It's 0% containment. That is a look at that fire perimeter. Now, let's take a look at it from a perspective of kind of going through Scott Valley. There's a look at Etna. Now, what you'll see here is you've got this ridge that it's gone over, then there's another little ridge right here before it gets to Etna over here. So it's got to go up and over that ridge before it makes its way into the valley. But this is just continuing to move closer and closer. And that's going to impact, and that's threatening the town of Greenview, which of course, as you know, has the evacuation order. Let's take you a little bit more to the north now, a little bit farther away from the fire, and that's Fort Jones. But again, you can clearly see that. So, I mean, if you're in Scott Valley, number one, you're dealing with very smoky conditions. But when you look off in the distance there, you can most likely see flames coming from that fire because it's reaching that level where it's just getting too close for comfort, right? Take a look at Mugginsville. This is Mill Creek Road that we're seeing right here. And again, you can kind of see there's another ridge it's got to get over before it kind of comes down onto the side of where the valley is. Let's take you kind of into this drainage area here. This is Kidder, I always forget. I've been saying it. What is it called? It's called Kidder Road. So of course it just kind of goes right within that drainage right there. And of course the fire's been in there. So again, there's a kind of another wider perspective, larger perspective of where that fire is. We're going to take a look at some of those distances. Now, I was reporting on this yesterday. It was about 10 miles from Fort Jones, even in the evening yesterday. It's now about 9.4 miles. These were both Etna and Greenview over 5 miles. Now you're at 4.3 for Greenview, 4.7 for Etna. So we've seen this fire move closer to these communities by at least a half a mile, if not even a little bit more than that, maybe even close to a mile closer in the last 24 hours. So again, there you can see the over 8,000 acres is what we're looking at still. 0% containment. We've got the bogus fire at 411 acres. This actually should be updated to 35%. Last check on that. Let's zoom it out here, give you a better perspective of some communities and how close it is. There you can see 24.2 miles from Doris, 10.2 miles from Montague, and 14.3 from Wairika. Again, 35% containment, not the 20% containment here that we're looking at here for the bogus fire. Let's take a look at the smoke forecast. Once again, you can see most of the smoke is going to be in Siskiyou and in Modoc County. But what we're really looking at here are two fires that are producing this smoke. The Shelley Fire and the fire in Southern Oregon. The one in Southern Oregon is one that's impacting eastern Siskiyou County the most, as well as Modoc County as well. Taking you into tonight, some of that smoke is trying to make its way into parts of the valley, so you may notice a little bit of haze tomorrow morning for places like Redding and maybe Red Bluff. But again, nothing too terribly dense as far as smoke is concerned, minus, of course, Scott Valley. We go into Thursday afternoon, and we still have some dense smoke making its way into Scott Valley once again. By Thursday night, most of that smoke is around the fire there. And of course, coming in from that fire in Southern Oregon, it's moving into eastern Siskiyou County and into Modoc County as well. And you may notice a little bit of haze in some of these areas as well. But overall, the more dense smoke is going to stay up to the north. The high pressure area is mainly off to the east here, but we've got this big ridge which is pushing all of those clouds to our north and keeping us fairly hot. Heat alerts, we're beginning to see this become a little less lit up in colors because we're getting kind of farther away from that heat wave, especially over the Pacific Northwest. But we still have through Friday, at least for our local area, through either Wednesday or Friday, but mainly through Friday, these excessive heat warnings and the heat advisories, because that ridge of high pressure producing this heat is going to stick around for a while. Here's today, that ridge of high pressure builds northward and stronger, and that's why we're about 110 plus for the valley through Friday. Now what's happening is this, as we go into Saturday, and in particular Sunday, Monday of next week, that ridge of high pressure will still be in place, but what's happening is it's getting weaker. And the reason for that, you see this little dip in the jet stream right here? That's riding over the ridge. That breaks down the ridge, and that big dome of heat that we talk about, well, that dome shrinks. When the dome shrinks, our temperatures drop as well. And there's another trough of low pressure right here. This is also helping to kind of break away at that ridge, allowing our temperatures to become much more tolerable. Let's take a look at futurecast. You can see some of the fog we're still going to see along the coast. We're seeing it this morning. I think some of it may stay fairly persistent through the afternoon today. Then we go into tomorrow. We may see some more breaks in those clouds. And then Friday morning, Friday afternoon, once again, we're seeing that fog. It kind of backs off for some of those inland valleys by Friday afternoon. And look at this. What is happening here? Yeah, that's the monsoon moisture coming in from the desert southwest. The flow around that area of high pressure could bring a chance for some showers and thunderstorms as early as Friday, it looks like. But for our region, most likely it will be on Saturday. Let's take a wider perspective and show you what's going on. There's the area of high pressure. Here's the flow around that high pressure. And this is standard for this time of the year, folks. What happens is the positioning of this high. You take this area of high pressure, shift it a little bit more to the east, that flow moves away from us and we don't get the monsoon moisture. Now we move it closer to us. Now we've got that flow coming right over us. Now it's not right over Northern California. It's just kind of skirting eastern portions of the state. So what that means is the monsoon moisture will move in, and I think most of the showers and thunderstorms will be to the east of California. But I think Saturday, Sunday, not out of the question for places like Susanville, Alturas, to maybe see a stray thunderstorm. And that could extend on into next week as well, because we still have that high pressure here and that flow around it. That could continue to bring us that monsoon moisture, and that could cause problems as far as lightning strikes are concerned. So definitely a pattern worth watching. We're not there just yet. We'll be able to really fine-tune things. And of course, I'll be gone the next couple of days, not to mention through the weekend, but Brian Wilson, of course, will be giving you some more information on that. Let's take a look at those wave heights. You can see they're going to start to increase here as we go into the next 24 hours or so. So no smoke correct advisories as of yet, but that will be changing most likely later on this evening and into tonight. Here's what it looks like today. Your detailed neighborhood by neighborhood forecast, starting off with Trinity County. Hazy, smoky skies, especially for the north end of Trinity County. You head to the south, not typically as bad, although you got the fire over in northern Mendocino County that's just touching the line there. But you could be looking at a little bit of smoke coming in that for southern Trinity County. Whew. All right, let's get the brain going again here. There you can see the sunny skies here, and we got temperatures upper 90s for Monday, Tuesday. Let's take you out to Trinity County. Again, the hazy skies in some areas, temperatures in the 90s, even over 100 degrees out in Hayfork, 87 for Miranda, 95 out in Garberville, 79 degrees for Red Crest. Let's take you up towards Ferndale, 65, 70 in Hinesville, 69 in Rio Dell. You've got those temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s for the next 7 days. Temperatures mainly in the mid 60s for the coast, but of course still hot. Places like Hoopa, I think you may even see some haze today, but I think better chances tomorrow. Dropping below 100 degrees by Sunday. We take you up north, 89 for Gasquet, but Orleans, it's hot, high of 106. Still hazy there. And there you can see, of course, the coast and Crescent City in particular, low to mid 60s for the next 7 days. How about Siskiyou County along Highway 96? Smoky, hazy for pretty much anywhere you go in Siskiyou County here, especially western Siskiyou County. You're so close to the fire. And honestly, these temperatures may be overdoing it because with that smoke and haze, especially if the more dense smoke, that can have the same impact as clouds and prevent the temperatures from getting as warm as they could. 101 degrees for Greenview, 97 degrees for Fort Jones, and 100 degrees out in Etna. We take you out towards central and eastern Siskiyou County with 97 for Tule Lake, 101 in Mount Shasta City, and 100 in McLeod. There's a look at your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. There it is. Chance for showers, thunderstorms that may even extend on to Sunday, Monday, and even Tuesday of next week. But for now, the best chances do look to be on Saturday. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, I do have a slight chance in there for Bernie as well, but I think most of the activity at this point on Saturday will be east of Bernie. Taking a look at your Lake Elminor, Lassen Park forecast. There you can see 96 degrees for Lake Elminor Peninsula, 98 in Chester, and even close to 90 degrees out towards the North Park entrance there at Manzanita Lake, but the south entrance about 81. Eastern Mountains to the south, Paradise, a high of 102 degrees. We've got Susanville with that chance for showers and thunderstorms. By the way, some of that haze and smoke could make its way as far south as Susanville by tomorrow. Taking a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast, brought to you by NorCal Tractor. It's warmer than it was yesterday, but just by a few degrees. We were able to dodge 110 degrees for most of us, but we're back up to 110 degrees or higher, with the exception of Willows, Durham, Gridley, about 107 degrees there. We take you up north, 111 for the city of Shasta Lake, 112 for Reading, 110 for Cottonwood, 106 for Whiskeytown and Lakehead. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Reading. 110 degrees or higher, most likely through Saturday, and then temperatures get much more manageable, much more, well, at least closer to normal. 103 degrees on Sunday, 102 Monday, and then Tuesday, a high of 101 degrees by next Tuesday. Oh my goodness. I pushed some buttons. I didn't mean to do that. Hopefully it didn't start recording again. So the end of the show may be messed up a little bit, but we'll see. All right, anyway. Let's see if that's the case. Maybe not. Maybe I got lucky. We'll see. All right. Never mind. Let's see how everybody's doing this morning. Let's check in. Of course, I haven't been able to check in while I was doing the weather update here because I was at the weather wall. I have got... Ooh, we've got Kim Burns. We've got some new names coming in here. We've got Kim Burns saying, listening from Brookings. Do I have to come back to the heat? Well, that's up to you. I wouldn't want to, but if you can't, do that, then, if you can stay, I'd stay. It's nice and cool there, right? Let's see here. I have got Kimberly Maliki. She's saying, good to see you. Good to see you too. Is this the first time you're discovering Coffee with Krueger, discovering what I'm doing, which I've been doing for now over a year now? I was talking to, Aiden was getting a haircut, and the woman who gave him his haircut said, hey, I miss you. And I said, hey, I'm doing my own thing now. She goes, yeah, I heard. I'm like, oh, okay, so you heard, but they didn't tell you? She downloaded the app. She downloaded the app here, pretty much right there on the spot here. Here we have, we've got Lynn Jones here. She says she's going to send me a list of what to take in case you need to evacuate. I could probably make a list. I could probably find some information, but thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. I appreciate your help there. And then Lynn said, submitted a picture on the app. Well, good. We'll have to take a look for it. And hey, and maybe next week it might be on. We'll see. Because, I won't be here tomorrow on Friday. Good morning, Mike. Thank you. Thank God I got my lawn mowed this morning. It's been really hot in Chester. In Chester? Yeah, it has. I mean, it's been hot for you. Obviously, it's a lot cooler than it was in the valley, but we'll certainly take that. And then we've got, I mowed, yes, from Kimberly. She's saying, I mowed yesterday at daybreak. And there you go. This is a little side joke. You might catch it. So you mowed yesterday at daybreak, or did you mow yesterday during daybreak? And I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't need to explain the joke. Yes. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. But I was kind of making a joke too. Yes, that was just kind of show you that's what Kimberly was saying. Yep. All right, folks. Well, that's about all we got time for now. Yeah, we're getting up on time here. But, all right, so real quickly, I want to remind you all that I'm not going to be here tomorrow or Friday. Brian Wilson will be giving you the weather updates throughout the day. He just won't be doing Coffee with Krueger. Okay, so I won't be here for the live show. If anything should happen, I'll try to be around for that. But I'm going to take some much-needed R&R. Kind of take a break, step back from Weather NorCal. It's been over a year. I'm looking forward to taking some time off. And the other thing is, I've got more time off coming up after that as well. But here's what I want to do. I want to mention to you that there's going to be a fun little contest that we're going to be doing, and you're going to have an opportunity to win a coffee mug like this. And if you're lucky, I might even throw in a shirt as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be posting on social media starting tomorrow, and in particular on Facebook. I'm going to be posting videos and pictures that I'm going to be sending out different clues on where I am. And you're going to have to figure out where I am. Once you figure that out, once you guess, I am going to take a pool of people that guess correctly, and then of course going to do a drawing, and then you will win this coffee mug. So that's going to start tomorrow. I'll also be if nobody guesses it correctly on Friday, then I'll be posting more on Saturday, excuse me, on Friday, that is. I'll be posting more on Friday, and then I'll try to just take a break in general on Saturday and Sunday. But we'll be coming back home Sunday evening, and then I'll be back on Monday for a Coffee with Krueger. So that's how it's going to work. Just want to let you all know that there is a contest that you can participate in to win free Weather NorCal swag. How fun is that? So thank you all so much for watching this morning. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I always appreciate that. You know that. And we will see you Monday. That's right. I got a couple of days off, plus the weekend. Thank you, Brian Wilson, for filling in. I got to tell you, he has been a godsend joining the team here, because he has been phenomenal, and he's a quick learner. In fact, he's even taught me a few things as far as kind of behind the scenes type of stuff. So I certainly appreciate the contributions he's been making. So there you have it, folks. That's going to do it. We are going to leave you with a couple of live shots here. We're going to start off with a picture from Lake Oroville, North Forebay, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.